How do you build a perfect backswing? It's actually a lot easier than you think. It's just something that we need to simplify and understand, and we will be able to get there. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Scott Owen coming at you. We're in the studio, so we're going to talk a little bit about building a perfect backswing, the one that is going to help you shallow the golf club, which then leads to us being able to rotate, strike the ball really solid, hit the baby draws or whatever we want to do, and hit the ball far. All of those things are really, really good combinations for what we're trying to do. Now, this question actually came up from our last video. We are using the hack motion sensor here, and somebody brought this up in the last video when we were showing some of the wrist graphs, how the wrists are moving in the swing. And we talked about the golf swing moving in a sense of we can flex it and then actually extend our wrists, so working like a windshield wiper, okay, something like that. And we have a lot of motion in the golf swing where we are moving our wrist in that manner. Thanks to something like hack motion, that's actually really, really helpful for us to see. Now, one thing that somebody noticed was we actually saw that there's not a ton of what we would call radial or ulnar deviation. Okay, so what that basically means is wrist cock, right? How much are we hinging our wrists in the backswing? And what they noticed was there's just not a lot of it in the backswing as players are going from address up to the top of the swing, okay? And that leads to issues, I think, for a lot of people, because the typical backswing error that we see is we're going to see something like this. We're going to go flat backswing. We're going to stand up a little bit, get flat with our shoulders, so our shoulders are flat. We're no longer tilting to the golf ball. We do something like that, then we need to go over to get back, and then we have a lot of issues that arise from that happening. So people get told, hey, don't make that flat backswing. Then what they do is they start saying, okay, well, if I don't want to be flat, I'm going to hinge my wrists more, hinge the wrists more. Well, that is fine. It's going to get rid of your flat backswing, but it does bring a lot of issues into the swing. Namely, when you hinge your wrists up, just anatomically, you have to start extending the wrist. I want you to try this at home. Just sit there and go hinge up. What you'll notice is that your wrist has to start extending, so it cups, okay? When that happens, the club face is opening. It's opening up. So we don't necessarily like that move. You can have a little bit of it, but we don't need a ton of it, okay? We don't need a ton of it. Again, you can have some extension at the top of the swing, but if you start adding a bunch of hinge, that's going to cause a problem. So people start doing stuff like this. They go through and they say, all right, I'm going to hinge it. Okay, then I got to swing from the inside. So they go low like this with their arms and they try to swing out to the ball, and we have a bunch of issues. In reality, what we need to realize is you can stop your flat backswing, or you can get a better backswing by just mastering a couple of keys that are going to help you. So the first one is going to be your grip. You have to get your grip on there properly. So if I'm taking a grip, and we've done a grip video before, I'll link that down below for you to check out. But we have to get our grip on so our hands are in a position where we can leverage the golf club. If I can't move the club around like this, see how I'm moving it around, it's going up, it's going down, I can kind of go everywhere, and it's not moving in my hand, that's going to cause an issue. That's going to cause an issue. If you're somebody that has the club more in the palm of your hand, where you don't have it running in your fingers, it's going to be hard to leverage that club up. It actually starts causing a little bit of pain to do that. So what you end up getting is the flat backswing, because you can't support the weight of the golf club as you go back. You just can't leverage it how you would like to. So that's going to be the first thing. You get your grip on there, and what you're going to notice is, if let's say we have a grip, the stronger your grip, the more you're going to feel like you have some wrist extension here. So you've already done all that you need. Again, that's going to be wrist extension is the same as wrist cock. So if you have a good grip, you actually already have all you need in the backswing as far as your wrist goes. So now your goal should be, let's try to get to the top with the same amount of wrist hinge that we have at address. Okay, again, we might change a little bit with flexion extension. We might change that a little bit, but typically we're just trying to go from the address up to the top, keeping everything as close to the same as possible. All right, so that's the first thing. Now, the second thing that we see is people need to understand that there is arm lift in the swing. I need to work my arms up. That is the part that's going to make this club go vertical. I'm lifting my arms. I go straight up like this. If I stand up to the golf ball and I just lift like this, okay, that is the motion that we are doing, okay? That's the motion. It doesn't look like that because our body is also moving together with the golf swing. So we'll talk about that part in a sec. So when you look at golf swings of really good players, you'll always notice that their hands travel more up than they do back, okay? And I know that's gonna sound, we hear this idea of depth in the golf swing. We have to get depth, but we can't get depth. There's very few players that get depth more than they go up. So it's usually we're going up and then we add depth with our body, okay? So we're getting the club to go up, adding that depth, and that's when we get to a pretty good backswing. So we need to have some upward arm lift in that golf swing. Now, the one other thing that people want to see, or the third thing that I want to see people do when they are trying to make their backswing, is we can also help that club go up, okay? Go up, not get pulled too far behind us, not get too flat, by controlling how our body tilts. So let's take somebody that works a very vertical backswing, very vertical backswing. So Dustin Johnson comes to mind. Now, again, a little bit of a rare case. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for his swing, but it does work, and it obviously it's worked well over the years, but it does illustrate what we're trying to prove here, which is if we want to go up with our golf swing, what we need to do is maintain some tilt to the ground. So Dustin gets very high in his golf swing with his hands. His hands and arms go very high. Now he does that partially because he tilts a lot. He is tilting to the golf ball a ton. It's almost like a 45 or more degree angle as he's going through. So he can maintain that tilt that's going to get us to the top of the backswing. That gets his hands up there a little higher. So when we combine the motions of we're going to lift our arms and we're going to turn as we go back, that is what gets us to this more vertical backswing, and we don't have to manipulate our wrists and our hands as much as we think. We can just go from address up to the top and get to where we need to. So that's the feelings that we are trying to do. Now, the thing that I like to do to work on the top of the backswing, I'm actually going to use Hack Motion here. They have a really good top of the backswing drill. So I'm going to get set up. What I like is they take your setup, whatever your setup is, at address. They adapt to that, and then they want you to get to the top based on how you are set at address. Okay, so everybody's going to be a little different, but the device is going to help you as we go through. It's going to calculate for that as we go. So I'm going to get set up here. Once I'm in setup position, now it's got it. Now I've got to go to the top. So I'm going to try to go to the top, turn and lift, not using too much with my hands and my hands here. Okay, going up. Let's go ahead, let's do it again. Going up. So from here, I'm just going to lift my arms and tilt my body, make sure I'm still tilted, and we get there pretty easily. Let's do one more. Up. There we go. Now, let's do it in an incorrect manner here. So let's say we're somebody, we're going to hinge a lot as we go. Hinge a lot, pull this club in, because we've heard, hey, you got to stand the club up in the backswing. Let's do that. Go in here. You can see I've extended this wrist too much. Now the club face is actually open. Let's say we're just somebody, hey, all right, Scott, you're saying lift the arms. Let's go ahead, let's do that. We'll lift. Again, that's not going to work either. Not going to get there. We have to do both. We have to go up, lift the arms, turn and tilt, and then we are ready to go and hit a really good shot. If you get the top of your backswing in a good spot, I'm telling you, it makes things a lot easier. You are set up for a good downswing. Something like Hack Motion has taught us a lot about what that actually looks like now. That's why these devices are great. And also having some feedback to make sure you get there. You can build basically your whole swing as you're going through and progress through the drills. So it's pretty cool that we have that available to us now, so we have better understanding. But if you have any questions about this one, please let me know down in the comments. And also I will link the videos prior Hack Motion that's going to help you, and also I'm going to give you the grip drill that helps you get a good grip, because obviously that is really important. So check those out, and as always, if you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.